Okay, so we finished setup of the Harbor Freight electric chainsaw sharpener, and now we're ready to actually sharpen a chain. I'm going to show you a couple things about this chainsaw sharpener and how it works in here, and then we'll take it outside and we'll actually sharpen something outside, because I don't want to do it inside because it can kind of make a mess when it's grinding the steel down and little shavings go everywhere, and my wife wants that to happen outside. So let's see here. So what can I show you inside? Right here you can notice if you turn this, this is important, this is actually the cut angle on your chain tooth. So, and this only goes one way apparently. So you'll see, yeah, this is, oh, no. Yeah, so this kind of rides on the track. You gotta lift this little leg up here and just set your chain in there, and it'll just if you don't get this tooth stuck, it'll just ride along, and you can adjust it like that. But it's important to kind of gauge where you're gonna, so you want it tight up against this lock right here, and then you want to come in and you want to make sure that you're kind of at the right angle, and then once you know that you're in the right direction, you're going to want to fine-tune this to be the proper angle. Now for mine, I think mine is 25 degrees, and so there are degrees on here, so you're going to want to, and I knew that because right on the chain there was a little number that said 25. I sure hope that's the angle and not the bar length. I can't remember. But another way to tell is they've got these little, on the top of the tooth, they've got a line slash, and you can tell that the angle that you cut the tooth needs to be the same angle that that line is. So I've got it locked in here, and it looks like 25 is approximately right. So once you get that set, you go underneath and you, oh, I just moved it a little. So you got to tighten it down now so it won't move. Get it tight. Now you're ready to start sharpening, actually. Well, once you plug it in. But well, no, and you're not actually, because there's you want to make sure you don't go too deep. So that's actually can't be right. There we go. So, and make sure you've got the right tooth, because they alternate directions, and when you're done with, you do every other tooth, and when you're done with one set of teeth, then you unscrew this and you turn it like this, and then you can get the other tooth. That tooth will be at the other angle, I guess. Oh, lucky me, I just happened to get the part of the chain that has two in a row for this chain. That's the way this works. Every other one alternates, so I always win the lottery like that. But okay, so you pull it one more time, and there's the other one, and so you're going to make sure that this angle is set correctly the other way. So 25 on this side and 25 on that side when you do the other ones. On that note, though, when you get started, you're going to want to mark the tooth you start with a Sharpie, or maybe put Sharpie on the top so you know which one you started with, so you know when you're done. Or sometimes the chain is designed that have two teeth that are oriented the same way, two in a row, so that you know that that's where you started. So anyway, once you let's go back to this side, and we'll lock that in at 25 degrees. So now this tooth is ready to go. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure this is set so it just lightly is grazing when you have it pulled back against this lock. You're going to want to make sure that this wheel, the grinding wheel, is just lightly grazing the front of that tooth. Just when you press it, you can hear just a little bit of grinding, just a little bit of touch. So that's where you want it. There's one more thing you need to do, and that is there's a knob right here. There's you can't see it, but right here there's a screw and bolt assembly here, and the little platform right here. That sets the depth of your cut. So you're going to need to toy around with that like adjusting it, making it longer or shorter so that it'll hit this table and stop the cut, so you don't go too deep. You don't want to cut into your chain, so you'll have to adjust that a little. And once you get the right depth to where it's not cutting into the actual chain link, it's only cutting into the tooth, then we're ready to take this thing outside and sharpen some chains. Alright, here we go. So make sure that the back of your tooth is tight up against the blocker stopper here, and remember to mark which tooth you started on, either with a marker on top, or sometimes they have two identical teeth back to back. Usually they alternate sides. But so the button to turn the grinder on is up here near the brake, behind the top piece up here, and it actually starts spinning as soon as you turn it on. There's not like a go pedal or something. So well, that's actually not that loud. So remember, hold it tight and then clamp it with the brake, and let's see what happens. Looks pretty good. Now I've got to go, oh, my next tooth. Oh, this is going great. Okay, something I'm finding is it actually, I've got this set up on a couple picnic or whatever they call these things, and it's not level. So that seems to be creating an issue. Sorry, my camera doesn't focus very good, but I'm gonna put a 2x4 under there so it's level, because it keeps trying to jump the track over here and it's not getting through. So hang on, let me try. Alright, I got a 4x2 or something under it now, so it's kind of level. Moves a lot nicer now. I think we're ready to continue. Okay, so I made it back around to the two identical teeth. So now that means it's time to switch to the other side. Now you gotta loosen up this on bottom and then rotate it back so again it's at 25 degrees or whatever the angle of your tooth is. Lock it down. Want to make sure that's just barely touching. And we're ready. Turn it back on. You can already see the bits of dust and shavings that are accumulating all over this thing, so it's definitely probably you'll want it out in the shop or not in your wife's basement. Alright, so switch it on, hit the brake, and I guess there's one more important adjustment on this thing I forgot to mention, and that's this right here. This adjusts this stop, this little flap for this brake right here, and so you need to make sure that the chain is coming to the correct position, you know, for the cut. And this, when you screw it right or left, can push this thing forward or backwards to make sure it's in the correct location. So again, you're going to want to make sure it's just to the point where that grinding wheel is slightly scratching the tooth. So that's about it. There's one more thing I'll mention, and that's the depth of your chain tooth tool. And you got to make sure you file down these guys every once in a while, not the tooth but the other guy. He kind of sets the depth of the chain. And this little tool, I picked him up. They're not all the same for every chain, I guess, so you got to watch out. But you kind of rest it on top of the teeth. And if that other tooth, the depth gauge is sticking out, you got to make sure you file it down. There's one tip I heard: use this gauge as a measuring tool to see if it's sticking up. But if you actually need to file that tooth down, take the gauge off to file it, because you might just end up wearing down this gauge, which will make you go lower than you need to, and you really don't want that tooth to be down so low. This is a new chain, so it doesn't need that done to it. But I hope that was of some help to somebody. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more of the same. And if you've never used a chainsaw before, stay tuned for the next video or click the link here. Okay, thanks for watching.